That's right. What are we seeing here, guys? What's going on? Monster waves in Portugal. That's what we're going to be talking about today. My name is Brett, and this is Topo Ranger. Greetings from the great state of Pennsylvania. Today is February 21, 2026. And like I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about monster waves in Portugal in a very, very, very famous location. We get waves as high as 100 feet, and they look like this. Right, this intro footage is from Greg Huglin. This is Nazaré, Portugal, November 2012. 2012. And we're going to be talking about the underwater topography, meaning why the waves get so big here. Then we're going to talk about world records, show some videos about what's the biggest wave, and the biggest wave ever ridden was, in fact, in Nazaré. I think it's pronounced Nazaré. And that's that. All right, anyway, like I said, welcome. Let's get down to business here. I was trying to do a more powerful intro. Bear with me. It's a learning process, right? So like I said, we're going to Portugal, Nazaré. There's a beach called Nazaré. We're going to say why. We're going to go over the world's record, and then we're going to wrap this video, which I'm going to try to make a little bit shorter than the last couple of videos, with some lingo. You know how I guys like lingo. We're going to go over briefly at the end of this video, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about a little some of the lingo, because I love lingo, jargon. I like it. And surfing, as everybody knows, has its own world of lingo, and we're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. But for right now, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, ding dong me, and all that stuff, and we'll get into this. So first, let's go see where this place is. So here we have the blue marble we call our home planet, and you may be able to see a little dot there, right there. That's Portugal. Nazaré monster waves. So why don't we zoom in here and give you guys an idea of where exactly this place is. Portugal is a country in Europe, if you don't know that. And here we are. Monster waves are going to be happening right here. Praia do Norte. We are back in the Portuguese-speaking area of the world again. So please excuse my mispronunciations if I do that. And this is Nazaré. Here's the town right here. It's on the coast of Portugal. And this spot right here is where it all takes place. Okay, let's zoom in here. Hopefully this is looking good. This is the Faro da Nazaré. This is a Faro da Nazaré. Is that how you say it? This is a fort that was built in 1577 on this little peninsula here. And a lot of the people film from here, like the media and the surfers. They come in here. And we're going to pull out here. It has a lot to do with this underwater canyon, which if you pull out far enough, there it is. That's the underwater canyon that plays really the decisive role in why these monster waves happen to hit here in this one specific location. I'll keep pulling out. There it is right there. And there are other canyons here. So we're dealing with underwater topography. And there we go. Bye-bye, blue marble. And as we get started here, I just want to show you this is from the maps. It actually looks better. This what I'm going to show you here actually looks better in maps than it does on. Let me get rid of this stuff. On Google Earth. Here we go. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're back here. Here's the point. Big waves are here. Underwater canyons here. I don't know much about the geology. We're not really going to go into too much. It's more about the topography and the combination of factors which go into making these great waves happen. But I did notice as I was doing my research that right here. Here's the lookout. Look at this. It doesn't get any clearer than that, what's going on here geologically, at least in this area of the peninsula to the south of the city. And you can very clearly see. Look at that. You can see the bedding. You can see the dip in the strike. You can see there's some variation here, it looks like. You got thinner beds here. You got a massive bed here. I did see a picture earlier that looked like it might be some sandstone, some of that windblown sandstone, but I don't know. I don't know what this is. This could be granite for all I know, but I just thought it was this was really cool from on the geology side. It's just so clear what's happening. It's like, okay, all right. So let's talk about what's going on here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to look at a little article on the waves of Nazaré. I hope I'm saying that right. So this is a small fishing village on the Portugal's west coast. Now, does Portugal have an east coast? I don't know. I thought it was all west coast. Now, the main thing, and this article is calling it the Nazaré Canyon effect. There's an underwater trench which plunges to depths of over 5,000 meters, channels, and intensifies incoming ocean swells. We got 3 or 4 videos we're going to go over today. Some are surfing, some are like infographic videos. They're just going to pretty much sum it up visually in like that. I like showing things that sum things up visually because sometimes you get lost in the words. The canyon's V shape, right? It funnels the energy from storms directly towards the Praia do Norte, which is North Beach, right? Which is right there by the town, creating waves that can exceed 100 feet in height during peak conditions. And it's the interaction between the canyon, the shallower coastal shelf water, right, that causes the water to rise dramatically, resulting in some of the largest and most dangerous waves on the planet. Okay, the key facts you have to know about the canyon are it's 230 kilometers long, extending from the continental shelf near Portugal to the deep, deep, deep ocean. And what does it do? What does this canyon do? It amplifies, which means it turns up the volume to 11, right, on these waves, leading to waves 2 to 3 times larger than usual Atlantic swells. That's a lot larger. Next, we're going to look at some really neat, well done graphics or paintings. I don't know how he did this, by Pedro, Andrés, Velasco, Morales. And this is really the best representation, topographically speaking, of the canyon that's helped making these monster waves that I found on the internet. And this is what it looks like. I guess he did this for Smithsonian Magazine. This shows you a little bit of where we are, right? Maybe they consider this the East Coast. So you have this deep, deep underwater canyon. The arrows indicate, I guess, the water flowing through the canyon up towards the coast, right? And there's the lighthouse. That's the spot where everybody is. And you'll see that later on in the videos. So you have this water surging in from the canyon and below, and then you have this shelf right here, and you also have regular old water flows, currents coming in, waves coming in this way. So you get kind of like 2 parallel wave systems coming, and they all converge right here. This spot here that has the little orange section there, that's where all the big stuff happens. Here's a beautiful picture. This almost looks like watercolor or something. I don't know, what is this? And you can see the town here, and this shows you there are shelves here, right? This is kind of the normal coastline, and then boom, you get this huge underwater shelf. Why was this canyon created? I'm going to go ahead and say probably from perhaps there's a river that comes out, empties out around here, around this town, and when everything was lower, when all the water levels, all the levels of the ocean were much 300 to 400 feet lower during the last ice age, the water was flowing through here and formed this canyon. I'm not saying that's 100%, but there's a really good chance that's what it is. And it's like a scar, like a gigantic crack. Water comes up here, boom, boom, boom. But right here, this is where the magic happens, right? Okay. And that, again, that's by Pedro, Andrés, Velasco, Morales. As always, all these links will be in the description, okay? And then this one is going to be a bathymetric map, bathymetry. I say bathymetry. I guess you could say bathymetry, but bathymetry kind of rolls off the tongue better. This is a underwater topography map, basically, is what it is. Oh yeah, there is a river here called Alcoa. Isn't that an American steel company? Alcoa comes down here. So maybe Alcoa and the Tornado River, maybe those kind of came together and in a confluence and kind of carved this sucker out. And you also have this one, the Domingo River here. But what this map shows you is the topographic features here, right? And this is just like looking at a regular topo map. It just happens to be underwater. What's cool about this is it also shows underwater outcrops, okay? So these black blobs here, this is the coast, but you can see they've actually mapped areas of underwater outcrop. So it's coming up this canyon right here. So these people are basically surfing over an area with sometimes 100-foot waves, and there are extensive outcrops. It's probably that same stuff that we looked at in the beginning of the video, right? The stuff that was like that. These outcrops are directly under the water, so you don't want to get scraped across that, right? No, that would be bad. One of the first questions I had when I got into this topic this morning was, is it like this all the time? I mean, that would be crazy. Yeah, you know, because I think you can swim here under regular conditions, but these waves can't be happening all year. That would be insane. I mean, it would be great for surfing, but not good for swimming. The best time to see the legendary giant waves of Nazaré in Portugal is during the winter, specifically October to March. The most consistent and largest record-breaking waves, meaning the 100-footers, typically occur from December to February. Early winter is ideal. While big waves are never guaranteed, these months offer the highest probability of the massive swells. Watching spots, the Forte de São Miguel, again, I'm probably massacring that, and that's that lighthouse there, is the ultimate viewpoint to watch the surfers. The big waves are created by storms. Best time of day is early morning, but you can check the tides to avoid the midday wind. Okay, so the key takeaway here is that these storms don't just, these waves aren't just regular. So you have to have a confluence not only of underwater topography and currents, but you also have to have weather coming in here. That's right. The waves are created, the big waves are created by big storms. Big waves, big storms. Makes perfect sense. We're going to go ahead and take a look at a video titled Giant Nazaré from a Drone. This was filmed February 25th, 2022. And the channel this is coming from is Magic Seaweed. Okay, so go check out that channel, go subscribe to that channel. And the drone pilot in this footage was Tucker Wooding. Tucker Wooding was the guy who captured this footage. This guy right here, I think, is Brazilian. Some of this footage is so, it's all dramatic. It's so dramatic, and you know, the videos themselves do have music going over top of them, but I don't want to deal with the music and the copyright and all that stuff. So I'm just going to put some other music on top of it, which will pump it up a notch. This is Ethan Mikhail. So this can play, and the person who wrote this will get paid. My channel will not get hit with some kind of copyright thing or anything like that. And I picked this song, which is the same song from the beginning, because it's just better to watch this stuff with this music rolling in the background. Let's go full screen. This. Sorry about that. Oh, and oh man. Okay, so they he didn't get hurt in that. Okay. There's the lookout. Crawling with people. Look at those waves. I mean, and this is all tow-in. Now, what does he see? My question: people out there who surf, what's he doing there with his hands? It seems like they all do that. Are they trying to like break the air or something? And we got the jet ski guys. Here we go. See what he's doing with his hands there? Or maybe he's just trying to stay on. Right? I don't understand what's going on there. Oh, and he's going down. Boom. And he was not hurt. He's okay. Everything's okay. Look at that foam. The spray. And here they are. This is what it looks like. Now they do have the camera zoomed in, so it's going to make everything look much bigger, but it's not that much bigger. These waves are truly ginormous in and of themselves, right? it looks like they're on a wall. Like, what kind of angle is that? In terms of these waves, the angle's got to be super steep. This guy's riding up here, keeping an eye on his bud there. And this might be a piece of it. This is from 2022. Oh man, swallowed. And look at the speed. That's one of the things I realized while watching this footage, but these guys are going faster than you would on a normal wave because it's steep and you just, whoa! And they do have straps. They do have straps on because I don't think there's any other way to ride these mega waves other than to have straps. They're going so fast, they need them, right? Surfing, what was I going to say? Sorry. I think that if you're not surfing these monster waves, you don't wear straps on a surfboard, right? That's one of the things I always wondered was I've never been surfing, skimboarding, yeah, bodyboarding, all that stuff. I love the ocean, but I don't think I have. But my big question was, well, how do you stay on the surfboard? It's got to be slippery, or maybe the surface has got some grit on it. I don't know. But according to what I've heard and what I watched in the interview while doing research, they do have straps. So now let's look at a clip from Nazare Water Fun, okay? And this is titled Nazare Mechanics, HE, How Big Waves Are Formed in Nazare. So what we looked at before was basically that pictures, and you got two currents of water coming in, they meet, and the combination of events, including the storms, are what really makes this happen. But let's just watch this, and it's just easier to look at it visually because the visual animation is just going to be like, oh, okay, now I get it. So they're coming in high here, right? There it is. There's the town. There's that ledge. There's that cliff we were looking at before, okay? Oh, this is so cool. There's the beach, right? Takeoff zone. So that's where they're actually catching the waves, at the takeoff zone. So then you have the normal waves coming in, right? And they're nothing to at either. And then movie magic makes you see the canyon, right? The red being the deepest part, the green being the rim, and then there we have the convergence zone, right? So you got stuff coming up, and there it is right there. That's it. You also have a current coming down north to south down the coast. And then you have these normal continental shelf waves coming in this way. And then you got the special stuff coming in from below, right? Which is here. And as you can see, they all kind of combine. And that's how the magic happens. That's why you get 100-foot waves at this amazing location. Let's just look at that once again. This is such a cool animation. And this thing goes for what? Let's say 230 kilometers? Right? There we go. Let's take a peek. See the arrows? Boom, 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 converge. You got yourself a 100-foot wave. All right, the next video / animation is from the Hydrographic Institute Marina Portuguesa. Okay? And this is in, I can't read that because that is in Portuguese. And again, this just is just an animation that makes it very clear what's going on here. Here's the canyon. Here's where they catch the waves. Roll tape. Those little bars are waves, right? And this is what they're calling the regular normal continental shelf waves. And don't forget, we also have the current coming down here. So coming down, hitting that, this is the hot zone. The waves kind of move in. They're joggling around there in the canyon, right? And at the last minute, this thing here pushes these waves coming deep in the canyon, pushes them up. Boom, all of a sudden, they join forces with the regular waves, and the water coming, and the currents, the shore currents coming down help to then push everything up. So boom, boom, push it on up. And then I guess these ovals are the takeoff zone, That's they start here and they start here. I guess most of the real action that you'll see if you go and watch some videos, and I do recommend going and watching videos on this. I mean, it's mind blowing. The oval represents the waves. See, and they come into, they shift over, and they're just crashing, and that's how they make the donuts, right? And here you can kind of see what it looks like. There's that bedrock again. See there? Oh yeah, look at that. There you see, oh, I guess they're trying to do something there with the pulsation. I guess that's the pulsating nature of the waves coming in right here, right? This is where they're going to be surfing. Okay, right? Starting to get it? Yeah, it's quite amazing. Okay, so we did that one. So one of my first questions was, well, they seem to be going a lot faster than they do on normal waves. And I thought, well, maybe I'm not right. Maybe it's all the same, you know? No, in fact, surfers on massive Nazaré waves typically reach speeds of roughly 30 to 50 miles per hour, with some estimates reaching up to 62 miles per hour during, for instance, Sebastian Steudtner's record-breaking rides, which we're going to watch a video and check that out. That's next, actually. These 80 to 100-foot waves require toe-in surfing to match the wave's velocity. Not only is the wave going a certain speed, but then you're going down the wave, picking up speed, because the steeper it is and the longer that steep slope continues, the more you would pick up, right? When you watch the videos, one thing that becomes very apparent is these guys are going, I think they're going faster than a normal wave. That's why they have to wear straps on their surfboard, which I don't think surfers normally do, and they have to be towed in, right? They have to be towed into anything that size, because you can't just paddle into that, right? And the tow-in stuff is really cool. So they're going 30 to 50, possibly as high as 60, and it looks like it when you watch these videos. Now you may be wondering, well, okay, this is really dangerous. This looks really dangerous. And yes, it really is. And I'm sure lots of people have gotten hurt over the years, right? And I don't think I want to say tow-in surfing began in the 90s or the 80s, but I'm not sure about that. So they were surfing here back probably in the 60s, but they weren't towing in. But they must have gone out when the storms came in. So to me, another question I immediately jumped to is, well, obviously there must be a huge body count here, because how do you survive that? But much to my surprise, and it's a pleasant surprise, as of 2026, only one surfer is reported to have died at Nazaré, Portugal. Veteran Brazilian big wave surfer Marcio Freire, who tragically passed away on January 5th, 23, after a wipeout while tow-in surfing. This incident marked the first recorded death of a surfer at the renowned big wave spot, despite numerous close calls and injuries over the years. No additional surfer fatalities have been documented. But just assuming that this is correct, I mean, that's a miracle that not more people have died, because there's tons of surfers out there. I mean, this is like the best place. These are the biggest waves in the world, right? So the fact that only one person has died, and it was pretty recently though, 2023, that kind of blew me away. But you know, they say there must be a lot of, as it says, got to be a lot of injuries, you know, a lot of broken legs. I mean, you remember all those outcrops, all those black blob outcrops, right? You don't want to get dragged across that stuff. That question immediately got me to the next question, which was on the dark side of this, is a lot of people, there's a lot of surfers, right? There's got to be millions of surfers. How many surfers die every year surfing? Okay. So again, we went to Grok and we said, how many surfers die every year worldwide? And this is what it said. There is not a comprehensive global database tracking surfing-related deaths, this makes precise worldwide figures difficult to determine. The numbers appears relatively low given the sport's popularity. Okay, so there are 23 to 35 million surfers globally. Geez, I mean, I would have said 5, right? 25 to 35 million surfers. I mean, one analysis suggests that no more than 10 surfing deaths occur annually worldwide, often attributed to causes like drowning, impacts with boards or reefs, rip currents, shark attacks, or pre-existing medical conditions such as cardiac events. Now, you know, yeah, a heart attack, you're attacked by a shark. I mean, I wouldn't consider that a surfing fatality, because that a shark attacking you really doesn't have anything to do with the surf other than it's in the ocean and a pre-existing medical condition. There was a guy here a couple of years ago, I think now, who actually died in a caving trip up in Huntington County, I think I want to say, at a cave called Fleming's Cave, which was I think it's relatively, I've never been there, but I looked at the map. It's a water cave, and they were going into a section where they had to get down and crawl, kind of go into the water, and he died in there. Now, I think if I remember correctly, he had a cardiac event, right? He had a cardiac event, and if I'm getting that wrong, sorry, but I'm just going by what I remember. I think he had a cardiac event. Would you say that he died caving? Was caving the cause of that man's death? I would say no. I'd say the cardiac was. Now, maybe the cardiac event was brought on by the environment, but it's possibly, people who die like that, it's possible that he would have had the cardiac event otherwise. I don't know. So it depends on how you classify this stuff. So 10 surfing deaths occur annually worldwide. That seems incredibly low. 23 to 35 million people surfing all year round globally, and only 10 people die. Thank God. So make of that what you will, but it seems like not only at this Portuguese location, there's only been one, and worldwide, that was saying there's 10. Now, one of the things I wonder about when I look into, when you look at these waves, is if you've ever been tossed around in the waves, with relatively small waves, you can get beat up really bad. You can get the wind knocked out of you. You can get dragged across the sand. Get sand up in your wahoo, right? Hit your head, get cuts, scrapes. It doesn't take much to toss a human body around like a rag doll in surf, right? But when you look at these waves, you're thinking like, okay, it's just basically like a tsunami is going to hit you, and the reason I have a hard time believing that the deaths are so few is because 1 cubic yard of water weighs approximately 1,685 pounds. So a cubic yard, right, like this, it weighs almost 2,000 pounds. So when you get hit by a wave at places like this in Portugal, you're getting hit by more than a cubic yard. You're getting hit by 5, 6, 7, maybe 10,000 pounds of water. Boom, just crushing you. Like, how do you not get crushed? I guess they get tossed around in the foam, but water is heavy, and I just don't know how more people. Obviously, there must be a lot of injuries. And another thing I immediately thought of when I was watching these videos was you're not down near the equator, right? I think I was looking the other day that the hottest water temperature on Earth in the ocean is in Ethiopia, and it's like 98, 95 degrees. But I don't think the water off of the coast of Portugal is 95, right? And we're going to seatemperature.org, right? And that's saying that right now, as of February 21st, which it is, yes, 2026, the water there right now is only 57.1 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold, man. That's really cold. Even if you have a wetsuit on, that's cold. It's freezing. The average water temp for today is 57. And here's a chart that shows the monthly water temperature derived from many years of historical sea surface temperature, okay? And the peak month for water temperature is going to be September, which is going to be only 67 again. That's a lot better than 57, but that's not that warm. So they have to wear wetsuits and whatnot. But you're out there battling these monster waves, getting towed around, right? You slip up, you fall. You got thousands of pounds of water pounding. You're getting tossed. There's underwater outcrops. The water's freezing, right? You got to give it to the people that are going out and surfing these waves. They have, big what. This is I don't know, man. It's terrifying, right? But props to all of them, because you got to have some cojones, as they say, to go out here and do this kind of stuff. All right, so our next video, we're heading over to Instagram, and the caption here, this is Tim Bonithon Swell Chasers. That's the name of this feed. Tim Bonithon Swell Chasers and Tika Nui Smith. This is the Tahitian legend Tika Nui Smith creating a different view at Nazaré. So this is this guy, and he has, I guess he has a GoPro or something. I'm not sure how he's filming this, but he goes through a barrel, and it's a meaty barrel. What's a meaty barrel? Well, maybe we'll learn that at the end of this video if you stick around and check out the lingo section, right? But let's watch this guy go through the barrel. And notice how skinny, and maybe that's the camera lens, but the surfboard looks very, very skinny. Here it comes. How high is the barrel? What's the diameter of a barrel at Nazaré? 20 feet? You know, I've seen a lot of videos of when you get down and you're in those little things, right? That might even be harder. But the fact that he's also going 40 or 50, wow. How cool is that? How cool is? Let's watch that again. And, you know, it looks like he's pumping. What is that? I've seen them do the pumping stuff on smaller waves. Maybe that's a way of getting stuff going here. Here it is. Here it comes again. So if we know that 1 cubic yard of water is 1,600 pounds, what's the weight above this guy's head right now? What's the weight of all that water? Tons. Just tons and tons, multiple tons. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Again, Tim Bonithon, Swell Chasers, and also this is a collaboration with Tika Nui Smith, legendary Tahitian surfer. And that's inside the barrel, and a meaty barrel it was. All right. Next stop. Let's talk about the world's record. Meaning, what is the biggest wave ever surfed? I mean, the one that everybody agrees upon, right? Because I think there is some disagreement as to, you know, what the best way to measure these things. I don't know if there's a kind of a board of people who set the standards and say we decide. I don't know. Obviously, there's Guinness Book World Record. Guinness World. I gotta slow down. Slow down, Brett. Slow down. The current Guinness World Record for the highest wave ever surfed, unlimited, and that means you get towed in, right? So limited means you have to paddle in, and unlimited means you got to get towed in, is 86 feet or 26.21 meters. And this record was set by German surfer Sebastian Steudtner at Nazaré in Portugal on October 29th, 2020. That's 6 years ago. This broke the previous record of 80 feet. And that was held by a Brazilian surfer, Rodrigo Coxa, also at the same location in Portugal. And I think they have a list here. Yeah, number 1, 86 feet. Number 2, 80 feet. Number 3, 78 feet. Number 4, 77. So out of the top 4 biggest waves ever, 3 of them were at this location, at North Beach. Note that there are unconfirmed claims of even larger waves in recent years, including a 93.73-foot wave reportedly surfed by Steudtner himself, that is the current world record holder, at Nazaré in February 2024, so only 2 years ago, measured via innovative drone technology in partnership with Porsche. But Guinness confirmation remains pending as of early 2026. So they're waiting on confirmation if the Guinness Book of World Records is going to go ahead and say, yes, this is a 93.73-foot wave. That's quite a bit bigger than the current 86. And they have measured waves over 100 feet. I don't think anybody's surfed one, but they do know that, yes, waves do get over 100 feet at this legendary location. The ladies are up there too. The women's record is lower at 73.5. And this was set by Maya Gabera at Nazaré in 2020. Lower, but it's only, 86, 70. It's not that much lower, right? 73.5 feet. I mean, by any sane, normal person's standard, that's a monster wave. And she did it, and she holds the record. That's Maya Gabera, and that was set in 2020. The 86-foot world record was set by, again, Sebastian Steudtner in 2020. Wow, the same year. I mean, just amazing. So there you go. That's how big the biggest wave was, 86 feet. And of course, now we're going to go look at a video of Sebastian Steudtner riding this wave. So here we go. Look at those things. And you can see they're coming in from this direction, but also this direction. And this is it. So he gets pulled in. Here's the jet ski operator. They pull him across the top of the wave. They also call them wave whippers. So they kind of whip. I guess they zzz, and then they cut out. And I guess maybe that even kind of whips gives a little more oomph to these surfers. Whip them right down there. And here we go. And this is Sebastian. This is the record-breaking ride. And what I think is cool about this one is that you notice here right at the end, he comes up and boom, right? Catches a little air, gets out clean. Let's watch that again. It must be a lot of fun, but it also must be terrifying, but in a good way for these guys. Wow. And right here, he's just picking up speed. The board's shaking, right? If you watch these videos, not only are they doing this thing with their hands, but their board is like, it cuts out. I mean, boom, almost gets swallowed, but does not. Makes it out the end and even catches a little air at the end. All right, so that's that video. That was the biggest wave ever surfed in the history of humanity. And I'm certainly not an expert on that, but I believe it because that was truly a monster wave. All right, everyone. So let's close out this video with some lingo. I was looking for some videos where surfers go over the lingo. I couldn't really find one that I thought was going to be a good thing, but they are there. If you want to just go watch them yourself, there are tons of videos showing or talking about the lingo. You know that I like lingo. I love geology lingo, jargon, or whatever you will. And as we all know, surfer jargon, surfer lingo is very colorful and has a long history, at least here in the United States and probably worldwide. Kind of in my mind matches up with the Valley Girl stuff, although I know surfers had lingo way before that. The Beach Boys. There's a funny clip of I think it was Saturday Night Live back in the 80s or maybe late 70s, and it was John Belushi, I want to say. John Belushi and somebody else. Anyway, it was from people from Saturday Night Live. They go to California and they go to Brian Wilson's house, right? Brian Wilson was the songwriter for the Beach Boys, or the main songwriter for the Beach Boys. He kind of had the vision, of that sound. And so he's in this band, world famous for surfing, named the Beach Boys, but he was not a surfer. I have read a couple books on him, and if I remember correctly, he didn't really even like the water that much. The ocean, I think, he wasn't really down with it. And in this video, they take him and they force him and they basically throw him in the water. I think it was in California. And they forced him to go into the water. And that was pretty funny. And the Beach Boys had a lot of lingo in their songs. Again, I tied in with the Valley Girl phenomena. I remember being in middle school. We'd get off the bus. We'd go hang out in the lobby of the school for a while. And there was a jukebox. And I remember hearing Valley Girl by Frank Zappa and Moon Unit Zappa. It was like a hit song, 1983 or something, or 85, I don't know. Valley Girl, she's a Valley Girl. Oh my God. And, the lingo from that part of the country made its way around the world. I mean, we used to say stuff like gnarly, gag me with a spoon, grow to the max, Gen X, or maybe even millennials too. You'll remember that worked its way into the national consciousness. So let's go over some terms, right? Common surfing lingo includes terms for wave conditions like glassy, it means smooth, mushy, it means weak, and maneuvers such as dropping in. That's they share that with skateboarding too, because you drop into a half pipe. It means taking another's wave. So the meaning is different. Getting barreled. It means riding inside a wave. Essential slang covers states of mind. Stoked. I mean, I remember that came into popular usage back in the 80s too, right? Equipment. Your stick. Your surfboard's a stick. A beginner is a kook. So, here comes some kooks, right? Key surf terms and slang. Barrel, to pitted, riding inside the hollow curl of a breaking wave. Some of you may remember the early aughts video of that guy who's like the famous surfer interview where he's like, just get pitted, dude, get pitted. Yeah, there's a video of, and that was like one of the first, well, geez, yeah, that must have been one of the first viral videos, I think, or at least the viral interview videos, which is like a whole genre now. You can go on YouTube. There's a video of him. This video was made much later. He was 35. He was married, had a kid. And he basically admits in that video that, he was basically putting on an act in terms of his accent. And he's like, get pitted, because he knew he was making a video and he wanted to make a big impression. Jeff Spicoli, for, again, Gen Xers and out there. Sean Penn in Cameron Crowe's, was it like 1982? I don't know. Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right? Classic teen movie. He was a surfer, right? And he had that whole thing too. And he was dropping some lingo too. Dawn Patrol, the first session of the day, usually at sunrise. A duck dive, pushing the surfboard underwater nose first to pass under an oncoming breaking wave. Now you see that a lot if you watch videos. Frothing, extremely excited or eager to surf. I'm frothing to go surfing. Glassy, smooth waters. Goofy foot, surfing with the right foot forward. Is it like, I know most guitar players play with the left hand because right hand is more common. So I don't know if it's true. Like if I was to learn surfing, I feel like I would want to put my left foot forward, but I don't know. But goofy foot is if you put your right foot forward. A grom is a young surfer. Impact zone, the area where the waves break most heavily. A kook is a beginner or someone who disregards surfing etiquette. So if you're a rude surfer, you're a kook. Lip, the top breaking part of the wave, right? Pearly, nosing diving, when the front of a board digs into the water. Shaka, the hand gesture, thumb and pinky extended, used as a friendly greeting. Now, is that a Hawaiian thing? I feel like that's a Hawaiian thing, although I don't know about that. Stoked, again, extremely happy or enthusiastic. Turtle roll, a technique for flipping a longboard over to get under a wave, a wipeout, right? Falling off the board. And there was that song, woo, wipeout. And that was even before the Beach Boys, wasn't it? Or right around the same time. So there we have some lingo, but there is a lot of, just go online. There's a lot more things, like meaty was one. Mush, what is it? Mush puppy or something. They had one that was about mushiness. So a meaty barrel is a thick, heavy tube. So if you're shooting through a meaty barrel, you're shooting through a thick, big wave with a nice tube, all right? So there you have it, guys. Big takeaway, the reason the waves are so beyond belief big at this location in Portugal. Is he wearing a dry suit? Looks like he's wearing I'd be wearing a dry suit. At this location is because of that underwater canyon, that underwater topographic feature, which runs almost right up to the shore, right up below that 1577 fort where everybody likes to stand and get views. And it's the meeting of that and the regular waves and then the current, and you gotta have storms, right? You gotta have storms. I'm thinking people go surfing here during regular weather and the waves are still pretty huge, right? All right, well, if you had a good time, make sure you hit subscribe, ring my bell, follow me on all the platforms. And that's about it. I hope you learned something, and I hope maybe I entertained you a little bit as well. This is Brett for Topo Ranger, and I'll see everyone in the next episode.